Exactly 11 years ago today, a triple attack was carried out in the capital Hargeisa. One behind me here at the UNDP complex, one at the presidential palace, and another at the Ethiopian embassy in the capital Hargeisa. Tonight, and on this particular feature, we take a look at what happened on the commemoration of the 11th anniversary of the Hargeisa attacks. On October 28, 2008, at least 29 people died in a wave of coordinated car bombings across Somaliland. Most of the casualties were in the Somaliland's capital Hargeisa, where the presidential palace, the Ethiopian consulate and UN offices were targeted. These were the first suicide attacks in Somaliland, which was at the time regarded as a relatively stable region. Body parts were flying through the air after the attack on the Ethiopian consulate. One of the buildings in the consulate was leveled to the ground, and 8 people were killed. The attacks came as a real shock to many people in Somaliland after years of peace.
I remember that the town was chaotic because the explosion did not happen only in the UN complex, but also it happened in the presidential building and also another location, which is the Ethiopian office in Hargeisa. So many of my friends have been wounded. So I remember 2 of my friends who were seriously wounded. One of them is called Abdulaziz. He's still working with the organization, with the other organization, and the other one has recently died and called Adino. These 2 friends of mine have really suffered very big wounds. Some of the other staff members that were my friends also were shocked because some of them were not feeling good also. So I remember I took with my private car some of the staff who were also suffering from shock, not physical injuries as such, but more of fear and shock.
Guards outside Somaliland's presidential palace opened fire on the attackers, blocking them from entering the compound. One car managed to get into the heavily fortified UNDP office complex before the explosives were detonated. Eyewitnesses at the UNDP office said the attackers parked the car next to one of the buildings, which suffered the worst damage and the heaviest casualties.
I was at home when the things happened, and when I heard, I rushed with my private car to the office, and I saw the scene immediately. What happened was that a Land Cruiser, a vehicle which is a Land Cruiser, entered into the compound. It should not have entered, but it was a human error. It has entered, and it passed the main gate checkpoint, went into the parking area. It did not stop at the parking, but it went through the office areas, which was not allowed to go in. At that particular day, there was another checkpoint that was supposed to be locked, but it was not locked. So it went into the office complex, and it exploded inside the main building areas, office premises.
Abdikarim Hussein, who was working with UNDP at the time, tells me it was a miracle that he survived the attack.
What I remember was that before the incident, like 7 days before the incident, I changed my office. And there was an office that was I was using before that time, before I changed my office. And I have seen that building that I was using 1 week ago was completely destroyed. It was very bad scene. I mean, the way things happened was not because the area was not secured well. It was secured well, because the UN has got security standards, and they follow these standards to make sure that such incidents does not happen. But because of some human error, somebody opened the gate for that vehicle to enter, and the whole thing was blown up. And according to some security reports, that although the security departments can give you more details about what happened and how it happened, there was surveillance, hostile surveillance going on before the incident happened, as we heard. There was a car wash nearby the office, and we heard that they were coming to that car wash area to do the surveillance.
There was a lot of anxiety around the city, and cars were blocked from approaching the three locations. There was no information about who was responsible for the three attacks, which took place within 7 minutes of each other. Saad, a resident of Hargeisa who is now a taxi driver, says he was really very shocked because he had not witnessed such a catastrophic event in his life.
I witnessed the horror of the day. I was near the presidential palace. We heard a large explosion. I thought it was a tire blast. All of a sudden, other explosions happened. We were engulfed with fear and terror.
Hargeisa had been considered an oasis of stability, where the teenage gunmen who haunt the rest of Somalia's streets were remarkably absent. The bomber of the Ethiopian consulate was Shirwa Ahmed, a 26-year-old Somali American who is the only known American suicide bomber in Somaliland and Somalia. He detonated a car bomb at the consulate in October 2008, killing himself. Relatives of victims, police officers, firefighters and the country's leaders don't gather to mark the anniversary of the deadliest multiple attacks on Somaliland soil. However, for those who saw the horror, it is a sad story that keeps crossing their mind again and again.
We used to hear of attacks in the neighboring Somalia from the media. For us, it was the first time something of this sort happened. The memories of the attack are still vivid today.
There has been almost no terrorist activity in Somaliland since 2008. Hargeisa is one of the safest large cities in Africa, and aside from the pollution and the traffic, there is not too much to be concerned about when you are walking around. This has been attributed to the citizens of the country who took it upon themselves to secure the nation. Saad argues that unlike the neighboring Somalia, Somaliland and its people have vowed to protect and defend their state by themselves.
I personally think security lies with its people. The citizens of this country have a good working relationship with the security agencies, and our forces are quick to respond to everything that's reported to them. The vigilant public report any incident they think is a threat to the security, as well as people who rent their homes. Therefore, I believe that this is how Somaliland has secured the country from terrorists and militancies.
The government mobilized its people, and this role is widely believed to have facilitated the decline in the attacks or coordination of terror cells within Somaliland.
The people were mobilized to be vigilant. I think the support of the community to the government has increased a lot, and that is, I think, why they could not continue this type of things later on, because in every village, in every part of the town, people started reporting to the police of any unusual activities, and this happened so many times. I heard a lot of news presses from the government or from the police saying that they have captured so and so in such an area, they were preparing explosives and all that. So I think it has increased the cohesiveness and the collaboration between the community and the government, because the people didn't like this thing to happen here.
As Somaliland marks its 11th anniversary of the attack today, with no significant terror attack in the country since when it was last carried out, southern Somalia is still not stable. The militant group Al-Shabaab controls large parts of Somalia, and insecurity is rampant. What could Somalia, land from the former British Protectorate of Somaliland.
The very existence of the governance between Somaliland and Somalia is different now. One, Somaliland was created from elders sitting together without external intervention, and they put together this Somaliland, which is a hybrid system. When I say hybrid system, it's the local traditional structure combined with the modern government state. But for instance, the Gurti represent the traditional governance of the people, when the parliament and the executive body of the government represent the modern state. See, this hybrid system has got, I think, very, very good impact on the security of Somaliland, which was not existing in southern Somalia. Southern Somalia, there was a lot of external intervention. Also, because of, I think, the diversity of also the attitudes and diversity of people there are also a bit bigger than what's in Somaliland. You have got different types of clans or business people or politicians which are really having different interests. So I think the southern Somalia did not unite to make their country peaceful. That's what I think. They did not unite to get security by themselves. And I think that is what they can learn from Somaliland, is that they better sit together, and I think they can create their own, governance in a way that suits them.
11 years after the attacks on Hargeisa, Al-Shabaab continues to operate with impunity in Mogadishu, where the government and other foreign aid workers keep to a small cordoned-off area. And yet in Somaliland, Al-Shabaab has no presence, even though parts of its leadership originally came from Hargeisa. Yunus Deko, CBA News.